Hi, my name is Gordon Williams. I have Zion Blacksmith School. I'm going to show you how to forge South American rattlesnake out of the horseshoe file or horseshoe rasp. You can get these from the farriers. They'll usually give them to you, but you can pay them a few bucks for them. I'm going to use also a City Head number 5 horseshoe nail. This one's a draft nail, but it's one I had. We're going to start out by forging this mouth here. That's the hardest part of the snake. It's not very hard, but you got to keep it hot. Real good for beginner's project. I'm going to use vice grips for my tongs. I've made what's called a fullering hammer. I just ground an old hammer I got somewhere round, kind of a radius on it. I made a swedge out of a piece of pipe. So just open up, cut it in half. You can use a swedge block, step of your anvil, open up your vise so it's not a hollow in it, and use that. That will all work, but I'm going to use this. And then I'm going to use this as my bending jig. This was probably a 1-inch wrench. I just bent it and drew the handle out. And these will be my spacers to bend in that I'm going to use. First thing I'm going to do is forge his head. Like I said, you got to keep these hot. So we're going to call this middle the nose. And we want to just clip these two outside corners and get them to tip and fold it in. So we're going to come to the corner of this anvil, extend these tips just barely over. We're going to hit it like this, down, reach over the top and down. We don't want to come too flat. You'll pull too much material and its head will be kind of skinny. So we're just going to get those to barely tip, and then I'm going to come over here and forge them back into themselves until they touch. So let's do that. The snake. Gotta keep it hot. Here we go. We're gonna go to that corner, putting these corners over, tipping them down just barely. So they're kind of like that. I'm gonna come in from the front, and I'm gonna drive them back to themselves. Till they touch. And that's the only hard part of the snake. A hole in it. You have to have a hole. You can't forge it closed. You got to put a nail in it. Now we're going to go to the swedge, and we're going to forge this to a half round. I'm always want my hammer arm to hammer naturally like this, so I'm going to cross over. I'm going to lay this in here, and I'm going to hit right behind, right at that fold until I fill it bottom to the swedge, and then I keep going. Every time I fill it bottom, I move it along. Okay, so here we go. I've already got one of them done on that part. I'm going to turn it around and start into the tang and do the back half. So I'll just do that. You'll be able to see it that way. My worst thing is finding my tools. Okay, so I've already done the front of this, which I'll show you. I'm coming into the tang area now, so I've done this right into the tang. And as soon as you feel it or hear it hit, you're done. Okay? Every time I do that, I run the swedge, I lay him here then, when I'm done, and just tap him so he lays flat. I didn't take the curve out, just make him flat. Now, I'm going to start rolling them up. So what I'm going to do when I roll them up is, I'm going to hold my tongs. I'm going to put about 1.5 inches of head over the edge of the anvil, about 1.5 inches. And I'm going to hit straight down, straight down, straight down. Turn them back to there. Straight down, straight down, straight down. And I keep doing that, keeping the seam in the middle until they're about 1/2 inch apart. And then I'll lay them on his backbone and make them touch. Don't try to do a slithering blow and roll that together. He'll corkscrew and twist, and I will show you how to get that out. Okay, so that's where we're at. We're swedged the whole way. So again, I started here, went to here, turned it around, got it hot, started there, and went to there. So I've got one to that spot. I'm going to move on. Okay, so now we're going to roll it up. Okay. So as long as it's hot, it's already half round, it's going to continue to go round. So I'm going to lay 1.5 inches over, down, 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 and then down, 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 down. And I'm going to try to keep that in the middle. And then once it's about that far apart, I'm just going to tuck it together. It takes longer to heat these up than to make them. Okay? So don't worry about a little bit of a twist. We can get that out. That's not a big deal. So we're going to continue now and roll up from the back to the middle. Okay? I'm going to turn this off while it's heating. All right, we're going to finish folding the snake up. So I'm going to lay it here. Again, I'm hitting straight down. Keep my seam in the middle. Really bends quite easy. Now I'm going to lay him on his backbone. These got to get a little tighter. Loose tongs are just a pain. All that wiggling. Okay, we'll lay him on his backbone and just tap that together. And you can see that it's touching all the way, that head, and we're going to do his rattle now. We'll do his rattles. All right, I'm going to do his rattles in the guillotine fuller, and where I have these marks, I'm going to start out on his tail and notch him, notch him, notch him, and then I'm going to come back to the flat where those notches are and mark them. I'm going to come over and turn the tang right at the edge of the angle, and don't hit it out here at the end. Hit it right at there, bend it to a right angle, and give it that little S curve. So it looks like a rat. So here we go. When you're using a guillotine fuller, you want to hold it so that you can see here. Don't stand over the top of your fuller because when it bounces and it moved, you didn't see it. So you want to stand back at an arm's length. I can see down here. In case it moves, I can readjust. Okay? It's always on the tool, hand tools, fuller. It's a strike and fine, strike and fine. It's not a double tap. This little double tap is a bounce move. It gets things moving everywhere. Whether you're on a hand tool or that, it's a strike and reset, strike and reset. Okay, let's get some rattles on this snake. I'm going to put his, start at the loop end, moving it around. Make them as old as you want, as many rattles as you want. I'm going to mark the top now. Okay. I'm going to turn this right at the angle and hit right here, not out here. Bend it down to the right angle and give it a little curve. Okay. So it's got that little curve, and it's basically a right angle. Now, I'm going to adjust these so they're about an inch apart, and I'm going to use them for my bending tool. I'm going to start out with about an inch or so of his rear end sticking past that one. I'm going to hook my tool on it, close, not way out here, and I'm just going to bend it to almost a right angle, not quite. Okay? That's hot. Turn you off again. Okay, we're going to put our 3 S wiggles in it on here. If you look at the board, if you can see that, I'll blow it up later. Eventually his tail and his head have to line up or he'll fall over. I'm going to bring them out, put this up in the middle of my jig, not at the bottom, get it close and just go. And then I'll get another one, go the other way. And then we'll put it around for the last one. This should bend easy. Once I hook it about an inch past there, I'm going to walk over here and just give it a little pull. And I'm pulling with a wrench, not with the vice grips. And the reason I'm in the middle is just so my wrench can hold on to it. Okay? So I've got kind of the 2 wiggles in them. I'm just going to lay them here and just tap them flat on this seat. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and put him in for his last wiggle on his neck and make his head stand up so he can bite you. We're done. Turn this off. All right, we're going to put our last wiggle in it and make his head stand up. You can see a lot of times when I'm done, my heads are twisted. I'm going to show you how to get that straight in line with his body. We'll center punch a couple of eyes in him. We'll let him cool for a tongue. we're gonna make his head stand up. So last wiggle, I'm gonna grab his butt with the tongs and snap the vice grips in. Going for the last wiggle, I'm gonna line his tail and his head up a little bit. Okay. At this point, I like to set my vice grips here on the step of the anvil and tap right here. That kind of lifts his head up, and I can see that my head's crooked like that. So I'm going to go ahead and straighten it. Now I do that, I just hook him in here, turn the vice grip sideways, look down his backbone, straighten his head. Okay? He's ready for some eyeballs. So we'll just use a center punch here. Okay. So put the hold down on him. And I'm going to center punch a couple eyeballs. Okay. He's basically done except for his tongue. I'll do that later because I have to put it in cold. You don't want to quench these or their head will break off when we put the tongue in cold. This is a South American rattlesnake. I don't know if you can tell why. If you look at him, his scales point the wrong way. They point backwards. Hope you can see that. They point forward. That's because all of the rattlesnakes below the equator crawl backwards, so their scales point the wrong way. All right, thank you.